Oh, okay. I found some really cute rabbits at Marshall's this past week, and this is one of them. And this one, the only thing I had to do to him was paint his vest. Everything else on him was just like it is, so I just left it. He's so pretty just like he is. And he is about, 12, 14 inches tall, so he turned out really pretty. I've not got to go to Hobby Lobby for so long. Dana, so you don't have a rabbit yet. Okay, so this one I have painted, got him done, got him painted. And then this little one I found at Marshall's too. Everybody is buying these from Hobby Lobby. They're all over the place now because everybody's painting them. As one of the girls said this morning when she showed hers, I think it was Elaine, everybody's on the rabbit painting wagon. So if you're looking for something unusual, I found two this week at, we went to dinner the other night at Cracker Barrel. And I bought these two little guys from Cracker Barrel. And then so look at some different places and get you some different ones to have, to have some different designs. Because these from Hobby Lobby, they'll be, there's so many of them out there now. Because I was selling them. This year they've slowed down selling because there's so many out there and so many people painting. But if you're painting for yourself, then get you one, one of each. Okay, this is one of the big ones from Hobby Lobby. And when I got him home, I didn't realize, but they had remounted his ear got broke somewhere in the factory where they made them, and they had fixed it there. So he's got a really rough place on his ear there. It's not, it's okay, but it doesn't look very good. So I'll end up keeping him or giving him to my granddaughter. But this is one of the big ones. And these with the ear down, these girls, these rabbits are so easy to break. You can hit two of them together like this, just touch them together, and you'll break the ears off. So they break real easy. The ears and the legs, so shipping them is a pain in the butt when I ship them. I have to buy special boxes, and then I have to plastic wrap them, really big time. But this is one of the larger ones. And this one is one of the larger ones. Now, I didn't bring a painted one. I've got some larger ones of this one painted too, but we're going to do the next size down in this one. But these are the two large sizes. And, okay, this one is the next size down. And I don't know if they make this one too with his ear flopped over or not. I don't have one out here, and I don't think so. I think this is the only style they have in this one. In the mid-size one. Then you got the little bitty one. And I don't have one of them out here in the shop either. But I found this one at Marshall's this week. And I love him. Do I have the SKU number for Hobby Lobby rabbits? No, but Dana, you can, if they've still got them online, they had them when the spring stuff started. So check and see. Their spring is still, it's 40% off. Just go in the Easter. Just go to Hobby Lobby and bring up the Easter category and go down through there and see if you find the rabbits. Because they did have some on there, but I haven't looked in a long time. And I have no idea what the SKU number is because I always take the label off of them when I start on them. And all of these out here, none of them has a label on them, the ones that I've got out here. But I love this little guy. Now I painted, his coat was already yellow. So I left it yellow, and I put, they had some little dots on there that were white, so I painted those little dots black. And I checked the thing around his raincoat. I checked this around here, put the checks around here, put a little bit of color, a little bit more color in his ears. Then I done his shoes. I done this is the metallic. I done the metallic with the gold on the egg. Okay, and then I done the umbrella. The umbrella was all this turquoise color, and I painted every other section white, and I painted those little flowers. They're not decoupaged on. I just hand painted those little flowers on, and I love the way he turns out. And he stands about 12, 14 inches tall too, so he is really pretty. Hey Nikki, how are you? So we're going to set those back there. And we're going to get started if you got one. Now, if you didn't make your little cards, girls, these little things, see, I about wore this one out. These little card things is lifesaver when you're doing. I worked on things today. I got the pattern, went ahead and put the pattern on this one, and I'm going to put pants on him. So I put stripes. He got all my design on here to put stripes on his pants. I'm going to put him some black and white pants on, and I'm going to put him a red shirt on. So he'll have on a pair of pants and shirt. This little guy will. And then I did the other one with a vest on it. But this is your your cardboards. Is what you're going to make all your squares. This is what I do all of my checks and stripes and whatever with, are these cardboards. And they're made out of cardstock or poster paper. If you want real long ones, you know, the longer, if you're doing a big piece and you need them longer, then use the poster board. This is bigger than a sheet of paper, than a sheet of cardstock comes, so you have to get you some poster paper to make them very long. Okay, how do you download the digitals I gave you? Okay, Elaine, all you have to do on that one is click on the picture. And when you click, now you have to have a laptop or a desktop. I don't think you can save it to an iPad or a tablet. So if you click on that picture, it will bring it up large. And when it's up large, you right-click on it, and it'll ask you what you want to do. And it'll say Save To, and has some other things down there. Well, you click Save To, and then you'll have a file somewhere on your computer. I save mine to my pictures. You have downloads and pictures and all that on your laptop or your desktop. Then you click Save To and decide where you want to save it. If it's your pictures, click on your pictures and then click Save, and you got it. It's in your files then, and you can go back in there anytime and copy it, copy it over into your printer program. When you go back into your files, if you've never printed your own, you just right-click on it, and the little icons will come up, and you click Print, and it'll go over to your printer program, and then you decide how you want it printed, whether it's, you can print large, full sheet, you can print 2 5x7s, 2 4x6, 4 4x5s, you can even print 12 of what we used to call the little school picture things, the little bitty pictures. You can even print 12 on a sheet of some things if that's what you want. If you're printing flowers or something and you want to print them small, then you put 12 on that sheet. Okay. Dana, I'm going to sell them all, honey. I sell all the rabbits that I do. So which one are you asking about? The yellow one? The one with the yellow on it? Because I missed what you said there. Let me see if it's on my phone here. But I do, everything I do is for sale, girls. It must be the one you're asking about. Yes, I do. Message me when we're done, Dana, if you're interested in the yellow one. And I haven't figured a price out on him, but he, my big ones sell for about $150, so he'll be up there. So you message me after we're done, and I'll see what I got. Okay, now I'm going to do this one. And I'm using 3/4 inch. Got it thirsty today. This is my 3/4 inch stripe. Now when I put this one on, he's got big stripes, and if you'll see how he's turned, his body's turned. So his checks are turned. You've got to follow the shape of his body. And this one I use the inch cardboard. So according to the size, when I go down to a smaller one, I might go down to the little ones, might go down to even as small as this 1/2 inch. But on this one, I'm going to use, this is the mid-size rabbit, and on this one I'm going to use my 3/4 inch cardboard. Now on this front, a lot of this is freehand, girls. You just have to play with it and have you a good eraser. And when you're using your pencils, use it lightly. Pull your strokes and your little hatch marks or whatever your tracing is. Don't press down on it, and use it lightly, and you'll be able to get that pattern, to get it back off. Okay? So what I'm going to do first is I just make me a line. Right down through here, I make a line to make his vest. I put a line on each side, and it's coming right under his elbows. Right under his elbows here on each side, I have pulled it's not straight down. It kind of curves with the way the body's made. His body is curved like this. So you're kind of curving that around, pulling that down. Now in the middle here, I'm making a vest. So I'm just pulling me up. I kind of eyeball it and get my middle to where I think the middle's going to be. This is not a rocket science. You don't have to be perfectly straight. Okay? Then I pull, you can make your little mark right there, pull up from the bottom, come up and make you a little mark there where you think that middle point's going to be. And then come on up and make you one up here. Now I have pulled a V from here to this mark and from here to the mark. I put a V in there, which puts his vest. I'll show you on this one. See how he's got a V here? I've got a V in here that pulls his vest up. This is the middle of his vest right here in the middle. Okay? Now, I'm going to go around to the side, and I'm going to pull this right up here to the top of his knee there. He's got his knees bent up. I'm going to pull it right up there about to the top of that on either side. So I've brought me a stroke that comes up around here. It meets that I've pulled down, and that puts his vest on. That gives you his whole vest. Now, this one, I put the bow in here, so I didn't worry about what was up in here because I put that lace. This lace you can buy at Hobby Lobby. Go to the fabric department and you'll find it on a roll, little roll like ribbon. And this is made with both pieces, and then it's just glued on when it's done. And then I put some down in here, like he's got it, down in his neck piece there. I brought it all the way down, so I didn't worry about what was in there when I painted him. Okay? Then, so I've got my vest on, and the vest is going to be a solid color. Now this one, I pulled this little V down here in the top of him, made this little V down. I should have brought one of these out too to show you the V, but I don't have. Okay, but it's the same, just opposite. This V goes up, this one goes down. So he's got a V shape up here and one down here, and that puts his vest on. Which is the vest, just like this. That puts his vest on. And I'll paint it a solid color, and then these stripes, I just freehand in. We'll do that as we go. Then I went around the back, and I kind of follow his neckline around here and make me a little line around the neck for like where his collar would be. I'm coming around there, making me a little collar line there. Okay? Now, I'm going to start in the middle. I'm going to try to hold this backwards so you can see what I'm doing. I'm following his tail. His tail's down here. And I'm going to start in the middle. And I'm going to make me one line. I'm going to have to pull that down to get it in. I'm going to come up. I'm not going to make a stripe all the way from top to bottom because his neck is a whole lot smaller than the bottom is. Your checks are going to be bigger at the bottom and smaller as they come up to the top. So the only check you're going to put on there is right in the middle. I'm coming right here to the middle, and I put a mark on this side and a mark on this side. Then I'm going to follow that around, not worrying about what's down here or what's up here. I'm just staying in the middle. I'm going to follow that around and put my another mark here and another mark here until I get all the way around to that side. Then I reverse it. And I like to turn mine around and work, them to the right because I'm right-handed. So I like to work to the right. So I lay it down again, and I mark to the other side. Go 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I've got about eight stripes across there, but I've only got a mark in the very middle. Now, you got a freehand. You're going to take that mark. Remember what I told you about the little hatch marks? What size shipping boxes in this big one? The shipping boxes are 9 by 9 by 18. So they're 18 inches long, they're 9 inches wide and 9 inches tall. If you stay within a certain size diameter with Priority Mail, you can ship it when you get above a certain size. So I kept checking sizes on that rabbit to get it in a box that wouldn't cost me great big money. I don't know why I'm so hoarse today. Wouldn't cost me a lot of money, but I order those boxes from Amazon. Now this small bunny, This small bunny will go in a regular priority box that's 12 by 12, but you have to be real careful because I put a ton of bubble wrap. When I package my pieces, anything I package, I put it in a plastic bag first to protect the painting. I put this rabbit in a bag, in a plastic bag, and I use grocery bags. If it's a big one, like this one, I use kitchen garbage bags. I buy the white kitchen garbage bags, and I'll put this down in a bag with my thank you note that I send all my customers from Etsy. I always have a thank you card that goes in with my package. Then I put this, I will wrap this in, I buy paper from Amazon, big sheets of paper that are like 20 by 30, and I buy those by the carton, and I buy my boxes, and I buy bubble wrap. I have bubble wrap in the roll, and I have the little pocket things, bubble pockets, I don't know what you call them, but the little things, they look like a, like a loaf, but the bubble wrap. So this goes in a plastic bag first, then it goes in paper that's wrapped, then it gets layers and layers of bubble wrap wrapped around it, especially the ears and the feet. You would need to protect your ears and your feet. But I've never had one to break. I've never broke one in the middle. You'd have to get a really hard bang to break it in the middle. But the ears will pop off and the feet will pop off very carefully. So you have to wrap that real good, protecting the feet and the ears. Okay, now let's go back to this. So I'm going to turn my bunny around now. And if you do it, little hatch marks, like I told you, you've got a line over here and a line over here. So if you take little hatch marks and you start on the mark you made down here, and you follow it around, little hatch marks, and you come all the way around to the side. Don't worry about them being the same size. Your checks are not going to be the same size. Okay, so you come around this way, and then you go to the next row, and you follow them around. Come right on down until you get to the bottom of your bunny, and you do the same thing going to the top, all the way around. Little hatch marks takes them all the way around, get your checks on. Then reverse your bunny and do the same thing on the other side. Come from that little mark in there. And, okay, first I told you the lines around before I did the top ones. You got to bring your top ones up. Okay, that's what we put in first. Follow that line around and bring your top ones up. And you're bringing them up the same way. See down here, this one is the full size of my cardboard. But when I get up here to this top one, it's about half that size, because his neck is smaller than, he gets larger as he goes down. And I done that all the way up until I ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rows around this bunny. I've got 9 rows of checks that are 3/4 inches in the middle. The middle one's 3/4 inches in the middle, and then I've come up with them. Okay, now I lay that bunny down, and I start in the middle again, and I go from here, and I put a mark, this same 3/4 inch, and I go all the way to the bottom putting a mark, and then all the way back up to the top putting a mark. And then I do the same thing with them. I take my pencil, just like I was showing you a while ago, and I edge them all the way around, little hatch marks, till I get them around. And I've ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've ended up with 9 rows up to. Got 9 rows of checks. It's hard for you to see them checks on there. But I've got, as I block them in, start blocking them in, you'll see that. Okay? Now, the first thing I'm going to do, his vest is going to take more than one coat. So I'm going to paint it first. And I decided to do this one in the metallics. So anytime you use metallics, you're going to need 2 colors. And this is my metallic. This is teal in metallic. And these metallic colors are so transparent. So what you want to do is match you a color. Just go to the colors in the store. When you pick out your metallic, go back over to the colors and pick out the nearest color you can find that matches that metallic color. This one happened to be teal. This one is teal. They're both teal. They both say teal, but one's folk art and one's deco art. So you've got 2 different brands of paint. But I try to match that same color in those. If I'm using If I'm doing pink, then I'm going to match the pink, the metallic to the nearest pink. Every color of metallic that I buy, I try to match another color with it, because you're going to put this color on first. This is going to be your base before you put your metallic on, because if you don't, putting that metallic on that white or light color, you're going to put 10 coats on there before you get it covered. Okay, now I'm going to paint his vest first. So I'm going to go in here and take my metallic, or my regular teal, and I'm just going to come in and paint that vest. The vest is going to be a solid color, so all I have to do is stay in the lines there. I don't have to worry about checks or nothing in there. Okay, coming right up under his arm here. You'll get it. It seems Greek. Anything you do when you're talking about it, it's like when I'm learning something, if I'm learning it on YouTube, I can't watch it and learn it. I never could read a book and learn, like learning to crochet. I couldn't read a book and tell you what that pattern was. But if I sat down with my needle and thread and read that book and did it a step at a time, I could do it. I could work that. Well, it's the same way with painting. What I'm saying to you is probably Greek. But if you sit there and watch a video and do it at the same time and work with it, you'll get the hang of it. And it'll take you a few times of practicing to get those checks in there, but you can erase them. So just play with it until you get them in a good spot. I have to turn this toward me because I'm going right up in there where I've got that V. Okay. It's time consuming to get, it takes a lot more time to get your pattern on than it does to actually paint the rabbit, because once you get the pattern on, get your checks and stuff in place, it paints up real quick. And then I spray these, and I'll show you his face. I've got some, this one's got, eyes are closed, so all you have to do is put a line in his eyes. Some of them have eyes that's open, some of them have eyes that's closed. I'm going to Hobby Lobby today too, but I'm going to TJ Maxx. Hobby Lobby's had paint on sale. People's been having, I've not been to mine for a while, but everybody's been buying all kinds of paint. They must have decided to close out some colors or something, because one of the crafters had a buggy full, I think she said 160 bottles. Said this is what 160 bottles of paint looks like. And they had the big jars of paint for like 60 cents, 60, 70 cents. So you might want to check your Hobby Lobby. I use particular colors, so I've got a lot of odd colors that I've used one time. Then they're just there. So okay, I like this color, this teal, and I love the metallics. And metallics are real popular this year. I'm going to go out to TJ Maxx, because TJ Maxx is just like Marshall's. They might be owned by the same company, so I figured they might have some good rabbits. I went to Tuesday morning last week, and they're going out of business, but their rabbits were high. They had some, you know, that I'd bought for $12, $14 at Marshall's. They had them for like $35 and $40. And I'm not going to pay $40 for one. Unless it was something that I really, really wanted to do just for me. If I was doing one for myself and it was the only one I really liked, then I would pay that price for it. But if you're doing them to sell or otherwise, then I'm not going to pay $40 for one. I bought a bunch of rabbits last year. Last year, Hobby Lobby was late getting them in. They didn't get their rabbits until Easter was almost to Easter, so they had a lot right at the end. They did the same thing with pumpkins this year. Okay, now that's all. I'm just going to let him set now. I've got his one coat on his vest, And I will go back and put the next coat I put on him will be the metallic. So now we're going to start with the checks. Let me see what kind of brush I've got up here. You want to get a brush that fits. Hey Sandy, how are you? And Miss Nancy. Miss Nancy, you've been doing some pretty things. She started with me, girls, when I first started on the classes on here, and she's done amazing with learning and doing things. Okay, now I've got my black out over here, and I took my pencil, just put my fingers in the paint there. That was smart. Go back in and rub that off. Okay, and sometimes, girls, sometimes I paint them. If they're really, really bad, sometimes I leave them in the antique look that's on them. I don't, most of these I've painted. But some of them, it's just according to what you like or whether you paint them. If I paint them, I just paint a coat of white on them, and I just use my craft paint out of the bottle. But I have marked every other check with an X on here, so I will know where I'm going as I'm putting my checks on. Okay, I'm going to get a little bit smaller brush here. See what I got. This one's a 10. Okay, let's try this one. See how it works. Use your brushes and try them, see what you got. We'll start right. It doesn't matter where you start. Just be sure you pick one that's got an X in it. That brush has got some stray hairs on it. So I'm going to see where my scissors is at. You want a brush that's got a good chisel edge, so be sure if you got little stray hairs on the side of it, just clip them off. If you can get a hold of them. Okay, maybe I got that. Because you want a good flat brush to get those good edges. Okay. Okay, that's better. So I've just chose one and started painting in the checks. Okay. And you could just work your way right on down that one row if you'd like. Doesn't matter how you go around it or which way you go, because you got to paint them all. Just be sure you're working, to where you don't get your fingers in them. They will dry quick. Not too much paint on your brush. Get your edges in. Do your edges first. Go all the way around your little check and get your edges in, and then do your center. Kathy, you're at work. Don't get fired for watching TV. I've always worked for my own, girls, so I've never known that, when I was very young and first married, I took a few jobs. When we went to Florida, I took a few jobs and worked at Kmart for a while, because my sister-in-law worked there. But I've always been self-employed. Okay. This is good because you can turn him. See, now I'm working on my second row. Okay. Joyce, you done great on your check thing you done the other day, and I'm sure you can do these rabbits without any problem. I find that when I'm making my checks, if you get it out of your mind that all your checks have to be the same size, because the only time they have to be the same size is when you're working on something flat and you're going to see all the checks at one time. And if you think about putting them around as little hatch marks and not trying to make a long mark of something all the way around a circle and come all the way around that, I learned that a long time ago. It's much easier to put those around. Now see, let me show you something. I started on this face today. See, I started this face and I'm checking it. Okay, and I did the same thing around that. I'm going to paint these stripes, these in here, the way the vase is divided. I'm going to paint those gold. And I'm putting checks around. And I did the same thing. I put me a square, a mark up through there till I come up 5. I put 5 rows up through there. And then I'm going to put flowers around the top of it. And I did the same thing on here with the little hatch marks across and went all the way around that vase to paint it. So if you put those little marks, and it's not, see, it's way bigger at the top than it is at the bottom. So they're going to all be different, you know, the checks are going to be different sizes. Okay, now let's see where I'm at here. I'm down here to this one. Mm-hmm. Confusing, Joyce. It's confusing when you're listening to it. But when you sit down to try it, it won't be as confusing to you. When you're working on it, thinking about it, and working on it. But if you just listen to it, it does sound confusing. Because this piece is rounded. When you're working on something that's rounded, it's a little harder, and it is more confusing to get them in there. But if you continue to work with it, and if it aggravates you, quit and go away from it for a while. It took me a while to learn too. When I did the first few, I thought, Lord, I'm tired of fooling with this. I don't want to do this. But then after you get the hang of it, just like anything, once you learn, you think, oh gosh, that's really easy. But it's just that learning curve of getting, learning that steps. See, I'm on my 3rd row. I didn't spray paint them. No, I didn't spray paint on them first. I painted it with brush. I brush painted them, and I just used my acrylic out because it doesn't take much. They're already white, and you're really just covering up a few flaws. And if you don't mind the flaws that's in them, then don't paint them. Leave them. I've got some that I just leave because they're pretty like they are. Let me get this one right here, and I'll show you this one. I won't paint him. See this one? And see the marks he's got on him? He's got these marks. I won't cover those up because that just makes him look kind of antique looking, and I will leave those marks on him. If the marks are real bad or he's got blotches off of him, then I'll paint it white. But otherwise I don't. I just leave it that color. So it's your choice as to whether you want to paint him white or not. And I just brush on a coat, may take 2 coats of just plain white acrylic. And when I varnish them, I spray them because trying to brush varnish something with all these nooks and crannies is hard to do. So I do spray varnish them, and I use the Rust-Oleum 2-in-1 varnish, and I use the gloss. I just take them outside and spray them to varnish them. Now when I get to certain ones, as I go around, I probably have to go down to a smaller brush when I get to certain sections of working on him. Always use the brush that's most comfortable for you. The bigger brush you can work, the better you are, but learning to do that, always start with what is really comfortable for you. Because they got flaws in them anyway. You know, they got little crevices in them, so he's not smooth. Now, I don't know if I can get in that leg there. I may have to go to a smaller brush to get right in there, but I'm going to try it. Okay, see, I've got half of him finished there. Now I've got some little small ones there, and his arms, I'll leave them till the end and go down to a smaller brush. Now I'm going back here around on the other side and start on this side of him. See, this little checks at the top are real small. See how much smaller this one is than this one down here? They get, of course that's hard to see, but they are a lot smaller as you go down. Have you girls found you a cake plate yet? A glass, one of the glass cake plates. I've looked at a couple of Walmarts and I've not found any more at Walmarts. I've got 3 or 4 over here under my table that I bought probably last year from Walmart. So I've got some, but I've not found any at Walmart except the more expensive, like the Pioneer Woman. And so you need to find you one at the yard sale or somewhere. But I think we will work on, we'll cover a piece of glass with mulberry paper. Maybe this Saturday. I'll let you know if you know, we might just do a Saturday class this week and go ahead and just cover some glass with paper and learn how to do that, to get that on there. And then we'll set up a class to do a cake plate. First one we'll do it with the paper. Then we'll do one that we've painted. Most of us do Elaine. I've got a bunch of them too that I've had for years. And some of them I still use. But, and I've got some with some real pretty designs, you know, the glass and stuff. So, most all of us ladies that are older have, you know, we've got one at home. Or a number of them. That's like the old metal ones. I've got an old metal one that I still use because it locks, and when I would do things at church, take cakes and stuff to church, that was always the handiest one because it has a lock on it. Coming right up, this is. He goes along fast. Once you get the checks and get your design on there, the painting goes really, really quick. We need to be able to talk to each other. I hate that, sitting here and feels like you're by yourself. Well, Teresa Hatfield, I'm glad to see you here. I think it's the first one you've joined us live. Teresa grew up. Teresa and I, well, we did grow up together. Went to the same school and lived next door to each other for all the time our kids were growing up. Okay. Coming right along here, girls. Because sometimes, see, there's flaws in the rabbit, so sometimes you just have to work your way in to get in those little crooks, little places. If you're down there around this bottom now, watch where you're going with the bottom, because your checks. See, I've got the bottom in there, got around checks. So I've really just got one more row here of the bigger ones, and I'll go down to a smaller brush. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to go down to a smaller brush. Yeah, I don't think Walmart does it anymore either. They go wrong, discontinue things. But now I bought them there for years. I bought those, and they were only like $12, $14. And I've got them. I don't know what the brand was on them. I've got a couple sitting over here in the Mainstay. It says Cake Stand with the Dome. MAIN Mainstay was the brand that they had, because I've got 2 or 3 of them under my shelf over here. Okay, now I'm going to find me a smaller brush and go down to the to get the rest of them in. Probably need about a size 4 or size 6. Make it look so easy. Bernie, it's just a lot of, I've done it a lot. Okay, so I'm all the way up now. Now, right up here at the top, I've got a couple spots here. I've got a little short one here that I have to put in. I'm down to a smaller brush, and this one right here, I've got a little short one. Because his neck, the way his head's hunched over there, your thing's not going to be perfectly round going around his neck. So I've got one there, and I've got one little one in the middle. See, I've got 2 little bitty ones up there, and I've got one right around here. Now, when you get out to the arms, I just took my pencil. I want to put that brush in my mouth. I just took my pencil and carried my lines right over across his arms. Now I'm going to stop his cuffs right here. I made a straight across through there to stop the cuffs, where his arms is at. And I'm going to go right on around for his sleeve. It's right down there under his arm a little bit. See, got one on the arm. And then I'm going to go right here under his elbow. I'm not going to worry about the inside of the arm. Nobody's going to really pay attention to that. got 3 right there on the arm, and I'm going to go right up here and see this one, and I'm going to put 1 right here. And this one, he's got his arm bent up like this, so this one's going to have kind of a little V shape in there because his arm is bent, and I've got to work it right into that little shape of what the arm is. Got paint on my finger. Okay, now I'm going to pull that one up, and I need, let's see, I've got 1, I'm going to skip that one, skip here, gotta look, just gotta pay attention to what you're doing here. I'm going to put 1 right over in the middle here, just a little bitty one. Okay, and that's about all I'm going to do to that arm on this side here. See if I need, okay, I'm going to put a bow. I don't have to worry about that right there because that ribbon's going to come around. See how this is going to come around your head? You're going to cover up all that around that top there, so don't worry about that. And you can even, this one's got it down in here, this thing, and you can do the same thing on these. You can carry that right down into here. So it looks like he's got a, what do you call that, an ascot or whatever you would call that, it's where it's down in there. You can carry that right on around if you're worried about getting that in the thing. Now I've got to go down here and put these small ones in on this side. But that ribbon will hide all that you've got around through there. So he does need a bow. He needs something around his neck. Okay, got all the checks on that side now, and I'm going to go back and work to finish up this side. Now let's see, I've got 1 right here. This one goes right under his arm. Gotta get in there and pull it down a little bit. And if you're worried, just go down to a smaller brush. See, it put that check right up under his arm there on that one. Now let's see where I need to go to get a couple more on his arm here. I've got 1 right up here at the top. And a little short one right there. I'm going to put it in, but it's not necessary to put that one in because the ribbon's going to cover it. I'm going to put that ribbon on. Now let's see, I've got to put 1 right down here to the elbow. And it's a little one. And I'm going to put 1 right here around his hand. Okay. And 1 in here, 1 short one right here. Just follow and make sure you're getting, you know, every other one, that you're not putting two right side by side. That's all you have to do, is just follow the things. Follow your rows there, you know. You do one, skip one, do one, skip one. Okay, now I've got him. See, he's all the way around. He's got his checks on. Now we're going to go back and put some drags in those checks. Okay, now I'm going to go back around. I'm going to show you how to shade his face and do all that, but I'm going to go back around and put that other coat in put my metallic now on this part so it'll get dry. So I'm going back to my teal, my metallic in the teal, and I'm going to put me a coat on right over top of that other coat now. Hopefully it won't take but the 2 coats to do this one. It might take a third one. I think it's going to cover good. I love the metallic colors. Yep, it's going to cover good. Oh, I got some paint up on his elbow. Go in there and grab it while it's wet. Just take you a wet brush and get in there. When you make a little mistake, grab it real quick. And you can also, on this stuff, this is when you use your chalk paint. Sometimes if you need to cover up a mistake, you can cover that up with chalk paint. The white acrylic won't usually cover it up, but the chalk paint will. Okay. Okay, now I've got 2 coats on his vest, so you can see the shine on that. That's really pretty. Now I'm going to put, I've already put it in, but I'm going to show you how to do it. I've got some, yeah, I'm going to put drags in them. In my black, I'm going to put the drags in. And I like to use this ochre. Like I said, I like to use the ochre with the drag. So I'm going to put me out a little touch of that. It just takes a little touch. Oh, I squeezed too much out. And a little bit of painting medium. Okay, to do that. Now, I'm going to put me out a little bit of a rouge color. Where did I get it? I'm going to use this gooseberry pink. And this is Americana. Anything that looks like, you know, like rouge for your face is what you're looking for in these colors. It's just a, I don't know, this is called gooseberry, but I don't believe you can get that anymore. So you can look for another one. Here's another one that's called vintage pink. You're putting rouge on his, you know, putting color inside his ears. So you want to do that. So when I put these in, I load my brush with my painting medium. And then I load the left side with just a little bit of paint, like you've seen me do before, all that, and drag it on my palette. Then I'll go in and I'm going to make an oval. Now, some of them check his ears, and if you want to do that, you could take your pencil and mark that off in there and put checks inside his ears. But I just like to paint that in, and the outside is a little stronger, and the inside, I just let it kind of fade out to the inside, is all I do in the ear. So I'm coming around this side, and then I come around the other side. While I got that on my brush, I put a little on his nose, touching the paint to the end of the nose, coming down to the end of the nose, and just make a little half circle there on his nose. And I do the same thing over on his cheeks. I just go right under his eye and put a little bit of that rouge color under his eye. Okay, just kind of dab it on there. Okay, now I'm going to go back with some, I'm going to get me some gray. I want a dark gray. I'm going to have to scoot over here a minute, girls. Get me a little bit of gray. Okay, I'm going to use, this is called a neutral gray. Any gray will do. Black and white mixed together would do the same thing. I'm going to put a little bit of gray on here, and I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to shade underneath his vest. So I'm putting a little bit of the painting medium on my brush, a little bit of the gray on the left side, blend it on my palette, and go right down here where his vest ends, and come right up the side of that vest and put me a little bit of gray in there. See how I put that in there? This is just to shade underneath his vest. I'm going to go in the V, this side, and right up the other side, and put some shading. This is just to shade underneath the vest. I'll go back and highlight a little bit on the vest. I'll go back and put a little bit of white. Now I'm going to do the same thing, go around the back side, and I'm going to come right down here from his tail, and I'm going to pull me a little bit right here at the bottom of his coat. Come all the way around this way, and come right up over his leg, and pull a little bit down there at the bottom. I put a little bit of gray in there. This just to show that his body separates his body from his jacket. And I got a little bit dark there on my gray. Loaded a little bit too much on my brush. Okay. Come around, just pull it down, pull it right down under him, go from the tail all the way out to his knee. So I've got the shading all the way around underneath there. Now, if you was going to see his neck, I'd do the same thing on his neck, but you're not, because the lace is going to go on there. So I've got that. Now let's see. I would put a little bit. Okay, let's go right in here. If you're going to put lace in here, not necessary to put it in there either. But if you're not, you might want to go in there and put you a stroke, a little stroke of the gray down each side of the V in that vest. Right up in there. That just puts a little bit of shading back in there by his vest. You could, okay, that gets all of his shading on there. Now we're going to go back and clean my brush. I'm going to go back and put a little bit of the drags in my checks here. So I'm going to load my brush, a little bit of painting medium, a little bit of this yellow ochre. This yellow ochre is Americana color. No, it's a folk art. But you know what ochre. It's kind of mustardy looking. Okay, then I'm just going to pull. No certain spot as to where I'm going to put them. I'm putting some in the black and some in the white. You can put as many as you want or as few as you want. It just gives it a little accent. Sometimes I'm in the middle of the white, sometimes I'm in the middle of the black, sometimes I'm on a little bit of both of them. Okay. Now I think this time I'll go back and pick up a little bit of that teal. Not the regular teal, not the metallic. Pick up a little touch of that on the corner just like I did the other. And go back in here and touch me a little tiny bit of teal in there. And it won't show up on the black, so I'm just putting it on the little spot in the white, somewhere touches the yellow, touches the ochre color. And put a little strike of that teal. You can use as many colors in your drags as you choose to use. Everybody has a different choice, so whatever you like is what you want to do. It just gives a little more added color to his piece. See, you can see I've got some of the teal in some of the places, and some of it I've just got the ochre. Okay. Debbie, this size I sell for, I believe they're $90, $89.95, and that includes shipping. So it's according to which side of the United States you're shipping it on as to what you pay for shipping. So Sometimes if you're shipping on the East Coast, that shipping might be $10. If I'm shipping to Oregon or way up in that corner of the United States, my shipping might be $17, $18. So it's just according to where it's going to as it is. But I think I have them $89.95, and that includes the shipping for this size. Now I want to go back in and check my pencil marks. Make sure if I've got any pencil marks that I don't want on there now, that I've put my pattern on, I'll go back and make sure I've removed all my pencil marks. Some places, your checks, when you're putting your pencil marks on, they might have got a little bit different than your checks, and you're going to see your pencil marks on there. And I'm using these little school erasers. I don't like the eraser that's on a pencil. Okay, I believe I got that. Now I'm going to jump up and do his eyes. And the only thing I'm going to do with his eyes is put a little bit of a line in them and put him an eyebrow on there. So I've got a little bitty liner brush, and we'll pick me up a little bit of black paint. Add a little water to that to make it go. And his eyes are closed, so I'm just going to go to the bottom of his eyelid, right there where it's indented, and pull me a line through there. Okay? Now I'm going to pull up a few little eyelashes right above where I put that line. See, I put some eyelashes in there. Then I'm going to come up here and put him a little hatch of an eyebrow. I didn't make it one line. I just put little bitty stroke-like things. See, I've got his eye in. I put him some eyelashes on, and I put him an eyebrow on. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Now, some of them have open eyes. See this one? His eyes are open. I'm going to jump over here and show you this one real quick. And what I did with these eyes is I put a blue circle in first for the pupil of the eye. I went in and painted me a little bitty blue circle in there. Then inside that blue circle, I put a black one, half black in there. And that's the thing. And then I outlined, put the lining under the eye and over top of the eye, and put his eyebrow on. So he's got eyes. His eyes are open. So you can see. And then you want to put a dot in there for his highlight, so you can see his eyes on there. Okay. So some have closed eyes, some have open. Now this one, I'm going to go back in and do the same thing. Put the lines on the other side of this one for his eye. And I like to pull them toward me, so I'm going to, but now putting your eyelashes on, you're going to have to do them backwards, because you have to pull the eyelashes. If you pull them this way, they're going to be backwards. So you have to go in and do your eyelashes. Be sure you get them in the right direction. And then his eyebrow just goes little hatch marks right up here above his eye. I'm putting some little hatch marks for his eyebrow. See? So I've got both of his eyes in. And I'm going to put a mark right here, right down his nose there, his mouth, where he's got his hands up under there. I'm going to go down and put a little line. There's already an indentation there. So I'm just going to put a line in that indentation where it's indented in there. Come up, just put me a little black mark in there. I'm going to put a little black marks, little line work down here in his toes to separate his toes. Come in, take my liner brush and just come right down between his toes here and put a little bit of a black line down through there. All it does is separate his toes a little bit. No big deal. Okay. Now we're ready to go back in and finish his vest. And I think I'm going to put some white stripes down his vest, since the black wouldn't show up a lot on that color there, so we'll use white. But first I'm going to shade. I'm going to put a shade line right here where the vest is open, where it would close. I'm going to put a shade line across through there. So I'm going to take some paint. I'm going to take a little bit of my, I left that brush and didn't clean it. I'm going to pick up a little bit of my teal and a little bit of black with it, so that I darken it just a little bit. I need a darker shade. Remember, shading has to be darker, and highlight is white. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of my medium and I'm going to touch it into the teal, pull it down on my paper, then I'm going to touch one little tiny pinhead of the black in that. So I'm using such a little amount of black, it just darkens it a shade or two. Now I'm going to put it on and see if I've got the right color. I'm going to put a little bit of it on there. See if I've got, and I'm going to go right here where his vest and his coat meets, and I'm going to pull a shade. That's a good color. Pull it right down that line. And that puts his vest underneath his coat. I'm going to do that on both sides, on that side and on this one. Bring that shade line right down through there. See, that just separates his vest and his coat from that. Now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to do the same thing down the middle to show that he's got buttons. So that his vest is buttoned up. Come right down the middle here and pull me a line right down the middle. And I need it just to be a little smidge darker. So I'm picking me up a little bit of black. Mix it with that and put it in there. See? Now I've separated the middle. Now I'm going to go back with some white and do just the opposite and highlight a little bit. Pick up a little bit of medium. Got to put me out a little bit of white paint. And you might know it's stopped up as usual. Okay. Debbie, anybody with a brain knows that shipping's not free. I mean, when you buy from Amazon and they say free shipping, that shipping is incorporated into your price. So I ship both ways. Sometimes I list my items as ship free, but that shipping has been added into the cost of my item. You're not really shipping anything free. But now sometimes if I'm shipping far off, I lose my butt on that. You know, if I ship something and it ends up to be a big piece and it goes to Oregon, or it goes way up in the, you know, the way up in the corner of the United States, or if it goes way up here into Maine and up in there, sometimes I lose money because of where it's going to. But that's just a chance you have to take, because you can't say free shipping to certain states. So if you're selling on Etsy, or you're selling, you know, and you sit and specify that, and Etsy wants you to use free shipping. They want you to say everything's shipped free, for the simple fact, just like Amazon. But now on Amazon, you pay a yearly fee, which I pay for Amazon Prime, and I come out ahead because I buy so much from Amazon and most of us do, that if I figured up everything I bought, I'm sure I come out ahead by paying that membership fee. And I do the same thing at Sam's and, you know, the places. Now I'm going just the opposite of where I put the dark, and I'm going to put the light on the opposite side. Pull me a white line right up through. Now I've separated those two. This is my light side, this is my dark side. Now I'm going to go down to the bottom where I added a while ago, and I'm going to come right across here, right up this side, a little bit of light, and right up this side. So I've put a little bit of highlight on the bottom of the vest right here, on here, and down this middle. Now I'm going to put some stripes down, and I'm going to freehand those stripes on. There are a lot of people who, I mean, most people know or should know that your shipping is included in your price. But there are people who don't. I had one lady to contact me through Etsy, and she had bought, everything over $35 was shipped free, according to Etsy, and I had it priced $34.95. And she sent me a message, and she said, well, that's just 5 cents away from shipping it free. Why can't you just do that? Why can't you just ship it free? And she actually thought that they ship free, so, you know, and I didn't know what to say to her. That's, you know, I thought, Lord. But most people know that, I mean, you're paying for the shipping one way or the other. Debbie, on some items, but it don't, because I have a lot of items that the shipping's included, and I have a lot, the lower price items, the shipping's not included. So it's kind of a 50-50. I don't make everything free shipping like Etsy would like you to, but I do have a lot of things that ship what you call free shipping. Okay, now I'm going to get my liner brush. I'm going to use the black first. Take my liner brush, and I'm going to outline this vest at the bottom. Come right here and bring me a line up. I shipped a big tray yesterday, and as it turned out, because it was flat, the box wasn't very high. But I shipped it to Texas, I believe it was. And if something gets really, you know, if I'm shipping a big rabbit or I get something that's shipping, I use FedEx. I'll use FedEx. Even I very seldom use UPS, but I will use FedEx. Of course, when I do FedEx, I have to take them to the FedEx office. But I print all my own shipping, whether it's FedEx or USPS or whatever. I still print all my own shipping. Now I'm going to come right up here in the V in the neck and outline that part. And outline this part. And while you got that on your brush, while you got that on there, which I've already done it, you might as well sign the bottom of it. I've already done that. I put my name and the year when I sign them. Okay? Now, all I've got left to do is put the stripes in his vest. Do you have an Etsy shop, Debbie? When I was learning to use Etsy, I joined a group. I had a coach, Etsy coach, that taught me a lot. And now I have another coach at work, you know, that I work with. Most of us that are in the crafts business do have a business coach or, you know, somebody that you can ask questions from or work with. But Etsy has a lot of rules and stuff, and if you learn to get with them and follow the things that they like, then stuff. And then sometimes, but now I'm telling you, me and I think it's Elaine in here, we talked, she has a shop, and you have to watch with your keywords. We was using keywords like MC inspired for Mackenzie Childs, and they kicked all of those. And now a lot of times when I post something, yesterday I post some rabbits and some little rabbits, and immediately they were taken down for inspection. Now, they didn't even hit my page. It just said that thing. And then this morning they were back up, because once they look them over. But now once they get that, you know, then they'll kick you, because you can't. There's lots of words, lots of just words, plain old words that are copyrighted, and you never know what they are till you work them, and then you get one kicked. But you do know not to use. I mean, common sense tells you not to use Disney things and, you know, certain. But now, like Peter Rabbit, you can't put Peter Rabbit in your listings either, because Peter Rabbit is a trade name. I'm going back and putting a little more drag in a few spots. So when you're listing on there, Etsy's good for me. But now at times it's, you know, 21 was my best year on there. I didn't do as much in 22 I really did about as much as I did in 21, which was really good, but I had 2 shops. But now the one design shop that I sell my designs in, 21, was amazing. I did bukus, you know, I did really, really well. The more listings you get in there, you know, the more listings you have in there, the more likely you are to be seen. Okay, now I'm down to doing the stripe, and I'm going to use white. So I'm going to take my liner brush, and I'm just going to freehand load my liner brush with white, and put a little water in it, make it thin, and I'm just going to come in here and pull me some stripes down. And it's no, you know, it's not, they don't have to be exactly the same, because if you were looking at somebody's jacket and they had their jacket on, you wouldn't see all the stripes in a row, you know, straight, all straight and even. So you don't have to worry about that. I'm just coming in here and pulling me some white stripes right down through there. See, I've got this side on. Now I'm going to go back and do this side. And I'm going to use my liquid pearl to put his buttons on. Okay, now I've got the stripes in there. Now I'm going to go back, and since I'm going to spray him, doesn't matter, the liquid pearl, you can spray it. So since I'm going to spray him, I'm going to put pearl buttons on him. And his coat is, since his coat's this thing, I'm going to use white. So I've got my liquid pearl here. In my little bottle that's already got a stopper on. I'm going to spray it, make sure it comes out good. And I'm going to put him about 3 or 4 buttons down there. Doing the opposite side of your dark. This will be on your light side. And I'm going to build it up to where it shows to where you can see, because it'll dry exactly the way it'll look like a pearl when it dries on there. That's why it's called liquid pearl. So you build it up. See, if you look, you can see how those stands up on there? They will dry exactly the way. They don't run. That don't run. When you lay it down or hold it up, that paint doesn't run. It stays right there in that spot. And that pearl buttons just really sets off his vest. And I love that color. Okay? Okay, girls. I think we are Ridge House Decor. I'll take a look, Debbie. And if I can do anything to help you, I'd be glad to help you. Okay. Okay, girls, let's see if we have any questions. I've done shipping both ways also. Okay. I hope you've learned something, girls. If there's any more questions on there that I haven't answered, I'll go back and answer them for you when we're finished, when I'm finished here, okay? And I will be, and I'm going to have a drawing, and I'll send you a surprise. I won't tell you what this one will be, but we will do something. Okay, I'm going to use my phone, and I'm going to go up and down, go up the names and down the names, and then I'm going to pick one. Okay, Kathy Holland. And it says, is that Stickles? No, it's not Stickles, Kathy. It's liquid pearl. It comes from, I buy mine from Amazon. So I'll put your name down and I should have your address. I'll send you a gift. Let me write the name down. Holland. Liquid pearl comes in a bunch of different colors. You can get it on Amazon. It comes in these little bottles. Now this is Stickles. I don't use Stickles very much, but you hear that cha-ching? That's you get a cha-ching when you sell something on Etsy. But the liquid pearl, see, this one is this one's white, and this one's a little bit different. This one's iridescent. Usually I buy on Etsy. I get 4. You get 4 colors in a package, and it lasts a long time. And I love it. But now I've got some that I've had for a long, long time. It was different brands, and it does dry out on you after a period. But I've had them for years, and I still can use some of them because there used to be some different brands in it, and I don't see any here. Yeah, here's one. See, this was one. This one was called Bow Bunny, and it come in a tube like this. So you get, but the liquid pearl is the one that's the best. Okay. Okay, girls, I think I'm finished, and I think that I'll plan to do a Saturday evening or Saturday or Sunday afternoon, and I'll put you a thing on here and see, and we'll just do a class where we just cover with the mulberry paper. If you want to get you a piece of glass and you have you some mulberry paper, if you've got a cake plate, you can go ahead and cover your cake plate. With that, you just need mulberry paper and your Mod Podge and your glass. Just clean glass. That's all you need. And we'll cover that because that piece needs to dry, a couple of days before we work on it. And then we'll decide what we're going to do next week. Over the next few weeks, I'll decide that in post. We'll see what we're going to do. But we'll probably do something more of the risers and, show you some more designs, and then that cake plate might take 2. It might take 2 classes to finish the cake plate, to get it, because we'll do one. Well, it'll do one to put the paper on, then it'll be one to put the design on, and then I'll show you how to varnish it and all. And I like the Josanya varnish. It's the best thing I've had for them, because you're going to put. No, I don't wax, Linda. I don't wax my bunnies. If you want wax on it and you want to antique it, yes, you would do that before you, if you want it to look antique, yes. Before you spray it, then you do your antiquing on it. If you want that look, then use your wax on it. You have to be careful with the wax because he's not sealed. So when you're putting your wax on a raw piece, you know, it grabs. You might put a sealer on him. You might spray him with one coat of your sealer first. Don't use the gloss. You might spray it with one coat of clear acrylic spray and get that on there, and then do the antiquing to him. And that way, if you wanted to take some of it off, you could take it off. Okay, but like I said, with the thing, I'd rather you have, if you want a good finish, you'll get you some of the varnish, girls. I'm not looking at one sitting here by me, but I'll post a picture of it, because you can get it on Amazon, and you can get it on dickblick.com. You can get the Josania's varnish, and you can put, because the more coats you put on that cake plate, the better. I don't think I'm getting off track here, aren't I? And I usually put 15 to 20 coats, because it builds up on there, and you sand between the coats, and it'll build up, because the customer or you are going to use that. There'll be nothing done to the inside, but it will allow you to use it and just wipe it with a damp cloth to keep it clean. And no, Bernie, you can't cover a metal black cover with mulberry paper. Mulberry paper is only for glass. You don't want to cover anything metal and stuff with your mulberry paper. But you can do any glass. Get you a glass vase or just anything that's glass, and put your paper on. You don't have to do a cake plate. You can go to the thrift store and find you a pretty piece of glass. I'm sure there's some sitting around here, but they're over there in front of me, so I really can't show you one. But I'll show you some samples. I'll show you some samples in the thing. I'll picture some and show you. Because any good piece of glass, like this one, just like this one that I was working on today, I painted this one. But you could put mulberry paper on something like this and still put a beautiful design on it, on any kind of glass. So if you haven't got you some paper, get you some paper and get you some varnish, so you'll be ready to varnish your piece when you're done. And if you order your varnish, you don't have to have it in right away, but you do want to cover that plate with a good varnish and protect it, because it is something that's going to be used. The person is going to, use it, and that way you'll be able to clean it. Okay, I think I've answered. If not, I'll go back and check all the things, and I'm going to get out of here and run to the post office and out to Hobby Lobby while I'm out. And I'll see you girls in a couple of days. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed having you, and I appreciate every one of you coming along with me. And hope to see you in a couple of days. Good evening, girls. You're welcome, Pam.